The vast observation deck of the Galactic research vessel Zenith hummed quietly as Chief Observer Cax, for 27 stared at the holographic display of Earth with growing concern. The blue planet, third from its sun, had been marked for routine biological cataloging, but what the advanced alien civilization had discovered was anything but routine. High Commander, Cax, for 27 called out, their crystalline appendages trembling slightly. You need to see this immediately. The ship's leader, a towering figure with iridescent skin, glided across the deck to examine the readings. The data streams showed something unprecedented, a species that had managed to dominate their entire planet not through superior physical attributes or overwhelming numbers, but through something far more intriguing, adaptive intelligence. These creatures called themselves humans. The research team had initially dismissed humans as unremarkable bipedal mammals. They weren't particularly strong compared to Earth's other large predators. They couldn't fly like the birds, breathe underwater like marine creatures, or survive extreme temperatures without artificial assistance. Yet somehow, they had become the planet's apex species. Most fascinating, the High Commander murmured, scanning through the historical data. They've mastered fire, created complex tools, and developed symbolic language. But that's not what makes them dangerous. The commander pointed to a series of readings that showed human psychological patterns. The research team had spent months secretly observing human settlements across the planet, from sprawling cities to remote villages. They watched as humans adapted to every environment Earth had to offer, scorching deserts, frozen tundras, dense jungles, and everything in between. Not through evolution, but through innovation. What truly unnerved the alien observers was the humans' remarkable ability to learn from their mistakes and improve upon their solutions. When faced with a problem, they didn't just find one answer, they found dozens, then hundreds, constantly refining and sharing their knowledge across generations. One junior researcher, fresh from the academy, had made the mistake of calling humans primitive after observing their reliance on fossil fuels. The High Commander had quickly corrected this assumption. Look closer, they had instructed. See how rapidly they're developing alternative energy sources. How they recognize their mistakes and work to correct them. That's not primitive, that's dangerous. The research vessel's AI had calculated that at their current rate of technological advancement, humans would achieve interstellar travel within the next century. This revelation had sent shockwaves through the observation team. Most species took millennia to reach this milestone, if they reached it at all. But what made humans truly formidable wasn't their technology, it was their inexplicable ability to unite in the face of challenges. The aliens had witnessed countless examples of humans putting aside their differences when confronted with natural disasters, medical emergencies, or environmental threats. Look at this footage, Cax for 27 said, projecting a hologram of a recent earthquake response. Complete strangers risking their lives to save others. Different nations sending aid and expertise without hesitation. This level of cooperative behavior among a non-hive species is unprecedented. The High Commander nodded gravely. And their creativity, they don't just solve problems, they imagine solutions that don't exist yet. They dream, they speculate, they create art about possibilities that haven't happened. Do you understand why this makes them dangerous? The observation deck fell silent as the implications sank in. A species that could imagine different futures was a species that could shape reality to match their visions. Humans didn't just adapt to their environment, they adapted their environment to suit their needs. As the day cycle drew to a close, the High Commander made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. Prepare a priority communication to the Council, they ordered. Earth must be classified as a Level 1 protected world. No direct contact, no interference. We're not dealing with simple creatures here, we're dealing with potentially the most dangerous species we've ever encountered. The message was sent, encoded in quantum frequencies that humans wouldn't be able to detect for centuries. As the research vessel prepared to leave Earth's solar system, the High Commander took one last look at the blue planet. These humans, with their remarkable blend of cooperation and competition, imagination and determination, would either become the galaxy's greatest allies or its most formidable adversaries. Only time would tell which path they would choose. But one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same once humans finally reached for the stars. 6 months after the initial discovery, the Galactic Council's emergency session convened in the crystalline chambers of the central hub. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered to discuss the unprecedented findings from Earth. The High Commander's report had caused such a stir that even the reclusive quantum minds of Nexus 9 had emerged from their dimensional pools to attend. Junior observer Rix 219, who had spent the most time studying human children, stood before the assembly. Their holographic presentations showed something that had deeply unsettled the research team: the human education system. Distinguished council members, Rix 219 began, their voice resonating through the chamber, what you're seeing isn't just learning, it's systematic knowledge transfer on a scale we've never encountered. Human offspring don't simply mimic their parents, they question, experiment, and often improve upon what they're taught. The chamber erupted in murmurs as footage played of a small human child taking apart a mechanical device, studying its components, and reassembling it in a way that made it work more efficiently. The child hadn't been instructed to do this, they had done it purely out of curiosity. But that's not what truly concerns us, Rix 219 continued, switching to a new display. Look at their entertainment media, their stories. Humans constantly imagine scenarios where they encounter advanced alien civilizations. And in many of these scenarios, they emerge victorious despite overwhelming technological disadvantages. The Council watched in fascination as clips from human science fiction played across the holographic screens. Stories of humanity facing impossible odds, adapting alien technology, forming unlikely alliances, and surviving against all probability. Senior Analyst Vex 885, a veteran of countless first contact assessments, stepped forward. What we're witnessing is a species that has essentially been preparing for our existence without even knowing we're real. They've run countless mental simulations through their fiction, exploring every possible scenario of interstellar contact. The presentation shifted to displays of human resilience. A settlement rebuilding after a devastating storm, researchers working tirelessly in laboratories, athletes pushing the boundaries of physical achievement, artists creating works that captured emotions the aliens couldn't even comprehend. Their neural plasticity is off the charts, the quantum mind representative pulsed thoughtfully. Humans can go from complete novices to experts in complex skills within years, sometimes months. Most species take generations to adapt to new challenges. These creatures do it within a single lifetime. The evidence was undeniable. Humans had an almost viral ability to learn and adapt. When they encountered a new idea or technology, they didn't just adopt it, they transformed it, combined it with other concepts, and created something entirely new. A particularly disturbing case study showed how humans had turned their own evolutionary weaknesses into strengths. Unable to fly, they built flying machines. Unable to survive in space, they created sealed environments and protective suits. Every limitation became a challenge to overcome. There's more, Rix 219 added, displaying data from their cultural analysis. Humans have developed something they call the memes, ideas that spread and evolve through their global communication networks at incredible speeds. They can mobilize millions around a concept or cause within days, sometimes hours. The Council watched in amazement as human social movements unfolded across their world, bringing about significant changes in societies and governments through the sheer power of shared ideas and collective action. But perhaps most alarming is their response to failure, Senior Analyst Vex 885 interjected. When humans fail, they don't just learn from their mistakes, they become more determined. Each failure seems to fuel their desire to succeed, almost as if difficulty itself motivates them. The presentation showed numerous examples, failed experiments leading to breakthrough discoveries, lost battles inspiring revolutionary tactics, rejected theories spawning entire new fields of study. The pattern was clear: humans didn't just persist through failure, they thrived on it. A member of the Council's Security Committee raised an important question: what happens when they discover they're not alone in the universe? How will they react to finding out they've been observed? The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The research team's data suggested multiple possible scenarios, none of them simple. Humans' responses could range from peaceful curiosity to defensive aggression, often depending on how the information was presented and by whom. That's what makes them truly dangerous, the High Commander spoke up from their observation pod. Their reactions are simultaneously predictable and completely unexpected. They follow patterns, yet they're capable of extraordinary leaps of intuition that defy those very patterns. As the session drew to a close, the Council faced a complex decision. The traditional protocols for handling emerging civilizations seemed inadequate for this unique situation. Humans weren't just another species developing space travel, they were possibly the most adaptable, innovative, and determined beings ever encountered. The final footage showed a human parent teaching a child to ride a bicycle. The child fell repeatedly but kept getting up, each time with greater determination. The parent didn't intervene directly but offered encouragement and guidance, allowing the child to learn through experience. This, Rix 219 concluded, is what we're dealing with. A species that views obstacles as challenges, that teaches its young to embrace difficulty, that turns its weaknesses into strengths, and that imagines possibilities beyond its current reality. They don't just survive, they reimagine survival itself. The Council adjourned with a new understanding: humanity wasn't just another civilization to monitor. They were a force that could reshape the galaxy, for better or worse. The question wasn't if they would reach the stars, but what they would do when they got there. Deep within the secure archives of the galactic research vessel Zenith, lead emotional analyst HFY 632 made a discovery that would forever change their understanding of humanity. While reviewing surveillance data from Earth's various communication networks, they uncovered something that both fascinated and terrified the research team: human emotions weren't just basic survival responses, they were a sophisticated system of interconnected experiences that drove innovation, creativity, and evolution. High Commander HFY 632 called out, their bioluminescent patterns flickering with excitement: I believe we've been fundamentally wrong about humans' greatest weapon. It's not their adaptability or their intelligence, it's their capacity for emotional complexity. The High Commander assembled an emergency research panel as HFY 632 presented their findings. The holographic displays showed thousands of human interactions across different cultures, ages, and situations. What emerged was a pattern so intricate that even the ship's quantum computers struggled to map it. Look at this, HFY 632 gestured to a scene of a human relief effort after a natural disaster. These humans are experiencing what they call empathy, not just understanding another's pain, but physically feeling it themselves. Yet instead of this shared pain paralyzing them, it mobilizes them into action. The research panel watched in amazement as humans from different regions, speaking different languages, rushed to help complete strangers. Their advanced sensors detected complex neurochemical reactions happening in the humans' brains: fear, grief, determination, and hope, all intermingling to create something entirely new. But here's what's truly remarkable, HFY 632 continued, switching to a different dataset. Humans can experience multiple, seemingly contradictory emotions simultaneously. They can be afraid yet courageous, sad yet hopeful, angry yet compassionate. This emotional complexity doesn't weaken them, it strengthens them. The presentation shifted to various human artistic expressions: music, paintings, sculptures, dance. The alien observers were stunned by how humans could transfer their emotions into these abstract forms, creating shared experiences that transcended language and cultural barriers. They call it art, explained cultural specialist Zen 855, who had joined the presentation. But it's far more than simple decoration or entertainment. It's a form of emotional technology, a way to process and transmit complex feelings across time and space. Some of these artworks continue to evoke powerful emotions centuries after their creation. The High Commander's attention was drawn to a particular piece of data: humans' relationship with their companion animals. "Explain this," they requested, pointing to scenes of humans caring for creatures that served no apparent survival purpose. "That's another uniquely dangerous aspect of human emotion," HFY 632 replied. "They form deep emotional bonds not just with their own species, but with other Earth creatures. They'll risk their lives to save these pets, spend considerable resources on their care, and grieve deeply when they die. This ability to form cross-species emotional connections makes them potentially more receptive to alien life forms, or more defensive of their planet's biodiversity." The research team had discovered numerous instances of humans protecting endangered species, rehabilitating injured wildlife, and fighting to preserve natural habitats, often at great personal cost. This behavior defied standard evolutionary logic, yet it seemed to make humans stronger as a species. "There's more," Zen 855 added, bringing up new data streams. "Humans use something they call humor, a sophisticated emotional tool that helps them cope with difficulty, build social bonds, and process complex information. They can find joy in tragedy, hope in despair, and strength in vulnerability." The presentation showed how humans used humor and storytelling to navigate everything from personal loss to societal changes. They could laugh at their own mistakes, find amusement in their fears, and use joy as a form of resistance against oppression. But perhaps most dangerous of all, HFY 632 continued, is their capacity for love. The word itself had taken the research team months to properly translate, as no other known species had an equivalent concept. The holographic displays showed countless variations of this emotion: romantic love, familial love, platonic love, love for ideas, love for places, love for activities. Humans would cross oceans, climb mountains, build empires, or tear them down, all in the name of love. Their love for their offspring defies rational analysis, noted reproductive specialist CAX 741. They'll sacrifice everything: comfort, safety, even their own lives, to protect their young. But it goes beyond biological imperative. They'll do the same for adopted children, for friends' children, even for unknown children halfway across their planet. The High Commander absorbed this information with growing concern. "So what you're saying is that these humans aren't just physically or intellectually dangerous, they're emotionally dangerous?" "Precisely," HFY 632 confirmed. "Their emotions don't follow predictable patterns. They can turn fear into courage, pain into strength, loss into motivation. They use their emotions not just to survive, but to transform themselves and their world." The research panel watched footage of human responses to various crises, how communities came together after disasters, how strangers helped each other during emergencies, how global movements formed around shared emotional experiences. "And there's something else," Zen 855 added, displaying one final dataset. "Humans have developed something they call hope, the ability to imagine and believe in better possibilities even in the darkest circumstances. This hope seems to give them almost supernatural resilience." The High Commander studied the evidence thoughtfully. Humans' emotional complexity made them unpredictable, yes, but it also made them uniquely capable of growth and transformation. Their emotions weren't a weakness to be exploited, they were a sophisticated survival mechanism that had evolved over millennia. As the presentation concluded, a new alert caught everyone's attention. The ship's sensors had detected an unprecedented spike in global human emotional activity. Somewhere on the planet below, a small act of kindness was going viral, spreading from person to person, crossing borders and languages, inspiring similar acts across continents. The research team watched in amazement as this emotional chain reaction unfolded. This was humanity's true power, not their weapons or their technology, but their ability to feel deeply, connect profoundly, and transform their world through the sheer force of their emotional experience. The High Commander made a note in their final report: caution, human emotions are contagious, even across species barriers. Extended observation may result in unexpected emotional development among research personnel. Proceed with extreme care. The quantum archives aboard the Galactic research vessel Zenith buzzed with unprecedented activity as technology analyst HFY 774 burst into the main observation chamber. Their crystalline form pulsed with urgent frequencies as they interrupted the ongoing research meeting. "You need to see this immediately," HFY 774 projected, their voice trembling with a mixture of awe and concern. "We've discovered something about human technological development that defies all known patterns of species evolution." The holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing a time-lapse of human technological progress. But unlike the steady, predictable progression seen in other species, humanity's advancement looked more like an explosion of interconnected innovations. "Notice this pattern," HFY 774 highlighted, zooming in on the last century of human development. Other species typically master one technology before moving to the next. Humans? They develop multiple technologies simultaneously, often combining them in ways that shouldn't work, but somehow do. The High Commander and the research team watched in fascination as the display showed humans working on quantum computers while still using internal combustion engines, developing artificial intelligence while still struggling with basic renewable energy, reaching for the stars while still fighting diseases on their home planet. "It's chaos," muttered senior researcher HFY 901, their tendrils writhing in confusion. "Complete and utter chaos. They're climbing a technological ladder by skipping most of the rungs, and somehow not falling." HFY 774 nodded enthusiastically. "Exactly. And here's where it gets even more interesting." The display shifted to show human innovation during crisis periods. When faced with resource limitations or environmental pressures, most species slow their technological development. Humans? They accelerate it. The presentation showed multiple examples: a global pandemic spurring medical breakthroughs, energy crises driving renewable technology development, climate challenges leading to environmental innovations. Each crisis seemed to fuel human creativity rather than hinder it. But the most dangerous aspect isn't their speed of innovation, HFY 774 continued, bringing up a new dataset. It's their ability to democratize technology. "Look at this pattern they call open source." The research team observed in amazement as humans freely shared their technological discoveries, allowing others to build upon and improve their work. This behavior was completely opposite to the protective, secretive approach most species took with their innovations. They have these gatherings called hackathons, cultural observer Nix 365 added, joining the presentation. "Humans come together, often strangers, and collaborate intensively on technological problems. They compete and cooperate simultaneously, sharing ideas while trying to outdo each other." The High Commander's attention focused on a particular display showing human children interacting with advanced technology. "Explain this behavior," they requested. "That's another unprecedented pattern," HFY 774 responded. "Human offspring don't just learn to use technology, they intuitively understand it. We've observed children teaching their elders how to use new devices. The younger generations don't just adopt technology, they reshape it to their needs." The presentation shifted to showcase human makers and inventors, individuals who created new technologies in their homes, garages, and small workshops. These weren't massive research institutions or government facilities, but ordinary humans driven by curiosity and creativity. "They call this tinkering," explained HFY 774. "Humans don't just use technology, they play with it. They take things apart, combine them in new ways, find uses the original creators never intended. It's like they're having a conversation with technology itself. The research team watched footage of humans repurposing old devices, creating makeshift tools from available materials, and finding innovative solutions to complex problems using simple technology. This adaptability made them particularly dangerous. They didn't need perfect tools, they made perfect use of whatever tools they had. There's another factor we need to consider, interjected behavioral analyst HFY 528. Humans have developed something they call science fiction, stories about possible technological futures. These aren't just entertainment, they're thought experiments that often inspire real innovations. The display showed how human science fiction had predicted or inspired numerous technological developments, from communication devices to space travel concepts. Their imagination seemed to pull their reality forward, turning dreams into blueprints for future innovations. But here's what truly sets them apart, HFY 774 said, bringing up their final analysis. Humans don't view technology as separate from themselves. Look at how they're already beginning to merge with their creations. The presentation showed humans with medical implants, prosthetic limbs that interfaced directly with their nervous systems, and early experiments with brain-computer interfaces. They weren't just building tools, they were evolving alongside their technology. They call it transhumanism, explained Nix 365. The belief that they can use technology to transcend their biological limitations. Most species fear such integration with technology. Humans? They embrace it, even celebrate it. The High Commander processed this information with growing concern. So they're not just developing technology, they're becoming technology themselves? In a way, yes, HFY 774 confirmed. But it's more complex than that. They're not just upgrading their hardware, so to speak. They're using technology to expand their consciousness, enhance their problem-solving abilities, and connect with each other in unprecedented ways. The display showed humans using global communication networks to share knowledge, collaborate on solutions, and form communities that transcended physical boundaries. Their technology wasn't just tools, it was becoming an extension of their consciousness, a new layer of their evolution. And there's one more thing, HFY 774 added, showing one final piece of data. They're already thinking about artificial intelligence rights, ethical technology development, and the responsible use of power. They're not just creating new technologies, they're trying to create new wisdom to govern those technologies. As the presentation concluded, a silent realization spread through the chamber. Humanity's technological development wasn't just dangerous because of its speed or capability, it was dangerous because it was transforming the very nature of what it meant to be human. The High Commander made their final notes, warning, human technological development follows unpredictable patterns. They don't just use tools, they become one with them. Their potential for advancement may be literally unlimited. In the observation deck above Earth, the research team watched as millions of humans went about their daily lives, each carrying in their pockets more computing power than entire civilizations had possessed just a few generations ago. And somehow, they treated this miracle as ordinary, already dreaming of what came next. In the lower observation pods of the galactic research vessel Zenith, social systems analyst HFY 159 was experiencing what humans would call a eureka moment. After months of studying human social structures, they had uncovered a pattern so complex and contradictory that it had initially been dismissed as a data error. High Commander, HFY 159 transmitted urgently, their crystalline form vibrating with excitement, "We've been monitoring their governance systems all wrong. What appears to be chaos in their social structures is actually an incredibly sophisticated adaptive network." The High Commander assembled the research team as HFY 159 projected their findings into the chamber's holographic array. The display showed the intricate web of human social connections, from small family units to massive global organizations. "Look at this," HFY 159 began, highlighting clusters of social activity. Humans don't just form hierarchical structures like most species. They create overlapping, fluid social networks that can rapidly reorganize in response to challenges. It's like watching a living organism evolve in real time. The presentation displayed how human communities could quickly mobilize resources and support during crises, forming temporary leadership structures that dissolved once the emergency passed. This fluid adaptation defied conventional social evolution theories. But here's what's truly remarkable, Hex 159 continued, zooming in on various human gatherings. They can maintain multiple, seemingly contradictory social roles simultaneously. A human can be a leader in one context, a follower in another, and an independent agent in a third, all within the same day. Resource management specialist TYX 883 joined the presentation, adding their own observations. Their economic systems follow similarly paradoxical patterns. They've created something called virtual currency, money that doesn't physically exist but has real-world value because enough humans believe in it. The research team watched in fascination as humans traded these digital currencies, built entire markets around theoretical values, and created complex economic systems based largely on collective trust and shared beliefs. What's most dangerous about their social structures, Hex 159 emphasized, is their ability to form what they call movements, massive social changes driven not by central authority, but by shared ideas spreading through their networks. The holographic display showed how simple ideas could spark global transformations, environmental awareness leading to changed behaviors across continents, social justice concepts reshaping entire societies, technological innovations spreading through informal networks to reach remote communities. They have these gathering places called coffee shops, cultural observer Nix 365 noted, presenting their research. Seemingly simple social spaces where humans consume stimulant beverages. But these spaces have repeatedly become incubators for revolutionary ideas, artistic movements, and technological innovations. The High Commander studied the data with increasing interest. "Show me more about their learning networks," they requested. Hex 159 brought up new displays showing human educational systems, both formal and informal. Unlike most species, humans don't just learn from designated teachers. They create elaborate knowledge-sharing networks. Look at this phenomenon they call citizen science. The presentation showed how ordinary humans contributed to scientific research, gathered data, and participated in global research projects. They weren't just passive recipients of knowledge, they were active creators and sharers of information. And their young, added youth development specialist QIX 741, they form their own unique social structures that often operate parallel to adult systems. They create their own languages, customs, and rules, like a society within a society. The research team observed how human youth culture constantly evolved, adapting and incorporating elements from various sources while creating something entirely new. These youth networks often became driving forces for social change and innovation. But perhaps most intriguing is their concept of subcultures, Hex 159 continued. Humans can belong to multiple social groups with distinct customs, beliefs, and practices, sometimes groups that seem completely opposed to each other, yet maintain their individual identity. The display showed the vast array of human subcultures, artistic communities, professional groups, hobby enthusiasts, spiritual gatherings, and countless others. Each had its own customs, language, and values, yet somehow contributed to the larger human society. They've even created entirely virtual communities, noted digital systems analyst LYX 447. Millions of humans forming meaningful connections and relationships through their global communication networks, often with people they've never physically met. The High Commander watched as these virtual communities mobilized real-world resources, supported members in crisis, and created change in the physical world, all through connections that existed primarily in digital space. And here's the most dangerous aspect, Hex 159 said, bringing up their final analysis. Humans don't just adapt their social structures to their environment, they adapt their environment to suit their social needs. They literally reshape their world to match their social visions. The presentation showed how humans transformed physical spaces to facilitate social interaction. Building cities, creating gathering places, designing environments that encouraged certain types of social behavior while discouraging others. They call it placemaking, explained urban development analyst HFY 624. They understand that physical space influences social behavior, so they deliberately design their environments to foster the types of interactions they want to encourage. But what truly alarmed the research team was humans' ability to maintain hope and social cohesion even in the face of severe challenges. They watched footage of communities rebuilding after disasters, maintaining cultural practices under oppression, and finding ways to celebrate life even in the darkest circumstances. Their social resilience defies logical analysis, HEX 159 concluded. They can lose everything, homes, possessions, even loved ones, yet their social bonds often grow stronger through these challenges. They don't just survive together, they find ways to thrive together. The High Commander made their final observation: so what you're saying is that humans' greatest weapon isn't their technology or their intelligence, it's their ability to form and maintain complex social connections? Exactly, HEX 159 confirmed. Their social structures are like a self-repairing, self-improving network that becomes stronger with each challenge it faces. They don't just build communities, they build resilience into the very fabric of their society. As the presentation concluded, the research team watched a particularly moving scene: a small human community coming together to help one of their members rebuild after a natural disaster. There was no official organization directing their efforts, no central authority coordinating their actions. They simply saw a need and worked together to meet it. The High Commander added one final note to their report: warning, human social structures operate on principles we don't fully understand. Their ability to form, dissolve, and reform social bonds makes them uniquely adaptable and incredibly dangerous. They don't just create communities, they create possibility. The final emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in an atmosphere of tense anticipation. The Zenith's research team had completed their year-long observation of Earth, and their conclusions were about to reshape the galaxy's understanding of intelligent life forever. Temporal analysis specialist DYX 925 stood before the assembled representatives, their form shimmering with nervous energy. Honorable Council members, they began, we've saved our most startling discovery for last. Humans don't just adapt to their environment or plan for their future, they imagine multiple possible futures and actively work to create the one they prefer. The chamber's holographic displays activated, showing humanity's relationship with time itself. Unlike other species who primarily lived in the present with basic planning for the future, humans existed simultaneously in multiple temporal planes, past, present, and numerous possible futures. Look at this phenomenon they call science fiction again, DYX 925 continued, but this time from a different perspective. It's not just entertainment or technological inspiration. It's a form of collective future building. Humans imagine potential futures, both wonderful and terrible, and then work to make the positive ones real while preventing the negative ones. The High Commander stepped forward, adding to the presentation. What makes humans truly dangerous isn't just their adaptability, their emotions, their technology, or their social structures, it's their ability to combine all these elements with their unique temporal perspective. The displays showed humans working on solutions to problems that didn't exist yet, preparing for climate changes, developing technologies to prevent potential disasters, creating contingency plans for scenarios that might never happen. They call it proactive planning, explained strategic analyst Mix 336. But it goes beyond simple preparation. They create detailed scenarios of possible futures, identify potential problems, and start solving them before they occur. They're fighting battles that haven't even begun. The presentation shifted to show human children playing complex games. Even their young engage in this behavior, noted youth development specialist QIX 741. Through play, they simulate various scenarios, practice different roles, and prepare for futures that may never come. It's like they're running countless simulations through their collective imagination. What truly alarmed the Council was humanity's ability to turn abstract fears into concrete solutions. They watched as humans transformed their apocalyptic nightmares into preparation strategies, their dystopian stories into warning systems, their boldest dreams into innovation roadmaps. But here's what makes them most dangerous, DYX 925 continued, bringing up new data. Humans don't just prepare for the future, they actively work to create multiple backup plans. They call it redundancy, but it's far more sophisticated than simple duplication. The displays showed how humans developed multiple solutions to the same problem, maintained various survival strategies, and created diverse approaches to challenges. They didn't just have a plan B, they often had plans all the way through the alphabet. Their space programs are a perfect example, noted space exploration analyst VYX 508. They're not just developing one way to reach the stars, they're pursuing multiple approaches simultaneously. Government agencies, private companies, international collaborations, all working on different solutions to the same challenge. The Council watched in amazement as humans repeatedly turned their fictional concepts into reality. Things they had once only dreamed about, flying machines, instant global communication, artificial intelligence, had become commonplace in their world. And there's something else, added consciousness researcher ZYX 714. Humans appear to have developed a unique relationship with what they call possibility. They don't just accept reality as it is, they constantly question why things are the way they are and imagine how they could be different. The presentation showed humans engaging in philosophical discussions, challenging established beliefs, and continuously pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. This wasn't just curiosity, it was a fundamental drive to understand and reshape reality itself. Their art reflects this too, noted cultural analyst Nix 365. They don't just create representations of what exists, they create expressions of what could exist. Their imagination isn't limited by physical laws or logical constraints. The displays showed human artistic creations that defied conventional reality, impossible structures, fantastic creatures, worlds that operated under different physical laws. Yet somehow, these imaginative exercises often led to real-world innovations. But perhaps most significantly, DYX 925 said, bringing the presentation to its conclusion, humans have developed something we've never seen before, they can hold contradictory possibilities in their minds simultaneously. They call it quantum thinking, though it's not actually quantum mechanics. The Council observed as humans navigated complex moral dilemmas, balanced competing interests, and found ways to reconcile seemingly opposite viewpoints. This ability to process paradox made them uniquely capable of solving complex problems. And now, the High Commander stated gravely, we must make our final decision about Earth. The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. Humanity wasn't just another emerging civilization, they were something entirely new in the galaxy. The final displays showed scenes from across Earth, children dreaming of the stars, scientists pushing the boundaries of knowledge, artists creating new forms of expression, communities working together to solve global challenges, individuals striving to become better versions of themselves. We've been asking the wrong question, DYX 925 concluded. We've been focused on whether humans are dangerous. The real question is, what will they become? Because they're not just adapting to the universe, they're imagining ways to transform it. The High Commander stepped forward one last time. My final recommendation to the Council is this: Earth must not just be classified as a protected world, it must be designated as a catalyst world. Humans aren't just another species, they're a force of transformation in the galaxy. As the Council prepared to vote on this unprecedented designation, the research team added one final note to their report, warning, humans don't just imagine the impossible, they find ways to make it possible. Their greatest danger isn't what they are now, it's what they're becoming.